Hey guys, and on the last episode of Question Block, I asked, what do you think Camelot's next game will be? It's been 4 years since Mario Golf Super Rush, which is a longer gap than usual between Camelot's games, so it seems a bit odd that they're taking this long. So that's why I was interested in seeing what your thoughts were on what their next game will be. But before we get into this video, I just wanted to mention that I have a goal to hit 30,000 subscribers before the release of the Switch 2. So if you enjoy this content, consider subscribing. And if I reach that goal, I will give away a copy of the new Mario Kart game when it releases. So with that being said, let's get into the responses. So Clifford Longhead said, Camelot's next game may be a new tennis game, because they only make Mario Tennis and Golf. I don't think that's necessarily the case, because they have developed other series in the past. I mean, sure, over the past decade, it's been just Mario Tennis and Mario Golf, but they used to do some other series, like Golden Sun, and then they did this weird, Capcom-published Wii game called We Love Golf. Then even before they started working with Nintendo, they did games like Everybody's Golf and Shining Force. So they did like quite a few series, like notably RPGs, and then a few other like sports games and things. So I wouldn't say it's like entirely set in stone that it's going to be a Mario sports game, because they don't only do it, but I would say that you're probably right that it's the most likely thing that they'll do next. But yeah, moving on, Generic Rust said, a Golden Sun 1 or 2 remake, or a new Golden Sun. It would be really weird for a Mario sports game to take this long, unless its scope is going to be bigger. Yeah, I actually kind of had this in mind, since Nintendo has been bringing back quite a lot of series, like Famicom Detective Club, 2D Metroid, and a lot of others like Advance Wars, Mario & Luigi, Big Brain Academy, a lot of others. So it would make a lot of sense to bring back Golden Sun in some form. I know it might be a bit weird to do like a remake on the Switch 2, but I could still see it happening if it takes advantage of the hardware. Like, since Camelot is a pretty small studio, it might have taken like quite a while to like either remake these games or make a new game in the Golden Sun series. So that might be why the wait has been this long, but I could definitely see a Mario sports game having a larger scope based on what we've seen with like Mario Kart 9 so far. That seems to be a much larger scope, but I think a new Golden Sun or a remake of the older Golden Sun games would actually make quite a lot of sense. Even like a remake of the DS game would make a lot of sense, since Golden Sun 1 and 2 are already on Nintendo Switch Online, but I don't know, I could definitely see that happening, and that was definitely something that I had in mind. So DDKOD said, definitely Mario Tennis. I wager it will come out in 2026 and have Odyssey and Wonder representation. Maybe Luigi's Mansion 3 and Showtime, but that will probably be a DLC or add-on content if that ever happens. Yeah, Mario Tennis is probably the next logical thing they'll do in terms of Mario Sports, since Mario Golf came out in 2021, and that was like the last thing that they developed. So I could definitely see Mario Tennis kind of being next up. I mean, they seem to kind of have a pattern over the past few years, kind of flipping between like Mario Tennis and Mario Golf and everything. So I do think Mario Golf or Mario Tennis is definitely possible. And I like the idea of having like a lot of representation from different series. Like, they already were starting to be kind of interesting in terms of their rosters. Like, there were characters like Fire Piranha Plant or Chain Chomp that were playable in Mario Tennis, and then in Mario Golf, you had like Ninja. That was like the first time that Ninja was playable as well as King Bob-omb. So I could definitely see them be like a little more interesting. Like, I would like to even see like the Mario-style human OCs return, because they can make original characters from what we've seen, so it would be nice to see, like, those human characters from the older games return. So, Pat Kicken said, I hope we get another Mario sports title, maybe like another Mario basketball game on the DS, or another Mario sports mix game. Yeah, that's possible. Like, Mario basketball historically, or like any Mario basketball related thing we've gotten, was developed by Square Enix, so I'm not sure, like, if Camelot would do that exactly, though they could possibly do, like, the other sports of Nintendo once they kind of dabble with them again, and they feel that, like, a new Mario Tennis or a new Mario Golf isn't necessary yet, because they would have, like, the backwards compatibility on the Switch too and everything. So I would definitely be open to Camelot developing, like, other Mario sports games as long as they have enough content. I really hope they don't make the same mistake that they did with Aces and Super Rush, but I'll get into that in a little bit, because there are a few comments that bring that up. So, Elite Octo said, perhaps they could be working on both sports games at the same time, so they could have them both work in a conjoined engines. That, or they're pre-preparing a ton of post-launch content for the sports games, since Nintendo does seem to have content pre-made for their live service games, and not having much content at launch or in added updates was a common complaint for Super Rush and Aces from what I've seen. Yeah, I think that's possible. Like, maybe they could even, like, release them together, like, with how Pat Kicken said, like, in a Mario Sports Mix style game. Like, imagine if it's, like, Mario Golf plus tennis, and then maybe, like, another sport in there from, like, Bandai Namco, kind of like how Mario Sports Superstars was. So that could definitely be possible due to, like, the gap in time here. And I feel like it would, if this was the case, it probably would be a lot better than Mario Sports Superstars, because the release of that game was only 2 years after Ultra Smash, and Camelot did, like, a couple sports in that game with golf and tennis. So I think, like, Bandai Namco could probably handle, like, one of them, while the tennis and golf portions of whatever, like, compilation sports game they could do would probably be fairly polished, and I think that would make a lot of sense for, like, something to release early on in the Switch too, because historically, Mario sports games aren't released during the first year of a Nintendo console, but something like a compilation package would kind of make sense for the first year. But with what you've mentioned in terms of, like, updates and things, and how the content will be handled, I really hope that's improved quite a lot. I'm really hoping the base game will have a decent amount of content, and even if they do updates, I hope they're handled more like, I guess, Splatoon, where, like, they're kind of rolled out over time, and they add, like, a lot of content after launch, while at launch there still is a decent amount of content there. Also, like, Mario Maker as well, even though Mario Maker is kind of infamous for not being supported very long, it did have quite a lot of content at launch, and the content that was added later truly felt like bonus content, so I'm hoping that will be the case for the next Mario sports game developed by Camelot. So Pyrepole said, Camelot is a small studio with only around 50 employees. They also haven't made a Golden Sun game in 15 years, so I doubt that would be their next game. Even if a new one is being worked on, it would almost certainly be at a bigger studio. In the past 15 years, Camelot has only made Mario Golf, Mario Tennis, and Mario Sports Superstars, so I can't expect anything else other than a new Tennis or new Superstars game. I would actually prefer Superstars, as they could combine golf and tennis and maybe one or two new sports into one title. I would expect a sport that would use a Joy-Con as a mouse, but for that, I can only think of something like shuffleboarding or curling. Yeah, I think that would be interesting, like, if they utilize the Joy-Con mouse like that. I was already kind of talking about, like, the potential of, like, a new Mario Sports Mix or Mario Sports Superstar style game. But yeah, the Joy-Con mouse thing, that would actually make a lot of sense, especially if they were planning on doing this as a year one title. So I definitely think that makes a lot of sense there, but I still wouldn't roll out a new Golden Sun game from them, just due to the fact that, like, I think they would definitely still be capable of remaking the older games, and it has been, like, quite a while since, like, the last game that they developed, which is Super Rush, so I wouldn't roll out Golden Sun completely, but I would say Mario Sports is more likely, and, like, due to, like, the amount of time it has been, like, since Super Rush, I think, like I was kind of mentioning, I think, like, some kind of sports mix, Superstars-esque game makes sense. But yeah, there could be, like, something pretty interesting that utilizes, like, the Joy-Con as a mouse. There might even be, like, a sport that we weren't thinking of that would work pretty well with it. I don't know, I think it could work pretty well. So yeah, I think that would be pretty cool if they utilized, like, the Joy-Con mouse functionality in that way. Ricky Lee Norton said, "I definitely say a new Mario Tennis and Mario Golf as a part of Mario's 40th anniversary, and with a bunch more characters, courses, and far more variety with items and extra modes at launch, to make up for how underwhelming both Aces and Super Rush were, because of how little content they ultimately had, with Nintendo's pretty much entirely dropping the finish it later approach that they used on the Switch. I'm expecting Tennis and Golf's next entries to make up for that by going all out and being as fleshed out as the previous games should have been, especially since everyone's eyes will be on Mario this year and even for part of next year for the anniversary celebration. Plus, these games could be a great way to test any new online features that the Switch 2 might have, or be a great tie-in for Nintendo Switch Online 2, for events or something like that for better servers." Yeah, I think the 40th anniversary is definitely a good thing to bring up, because there already have been quite a lot of other Mario games that released over the past 2 years, and it seems like they already covered, like, a lot of them between, like, the Mario RPGs, 2D Mario, and different things like that. And of course, like, they're gonna do like, Mario Kart and possibly 3D Mario, but Mario Sports is, like, another one that they haven't tapped into in quite a while, and would kind of make sense to do for, like, the 40th anniversary as well, especially if it's, like, some kind of collection, like I mentioned earlier. So I think that would be pretty cool, and I definitely think they're gonna iron out a lot of the issues that Aces and Super Rush had. So yeah, I definitely think it's going to be a lot better than the previous entries. So finally, Platy said, "Unfinished." It's not unfinished, it's just incomplete. I hope not. But let's be honest, there still is a possibility that that could happen. But yeah, anyways, the next question is, what are some games that could utilize the Switch 2's mouse capabilities? So yeah, let me know down in the comments. So anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to check out my Discord server and Blue Sky if you want to. Stay perky!